Welcome to Limitless Ballers Podcast media page. Today we have a very special guest for you guys.
Joshua Langford.
We are very excited. First and foremost, we want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you. That's a
Very first guest. We're excited for sure. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so the fact that we got it rolling right now, it's huge. Stepping stone for us.
Yeah, we're excited to have you as the first guest, as mentioned before, and yeah.
And please bear with us. This is our first time doing this, so we'll see how it goes.
We all just relax. We're just having a conversation.
We're just having a good conversation. Just talk about basketball and life, and just see what goes on from there.
Let me say this: I appreciate you guys for having me, and I think it's really cool that you guys are doing this. Because it's not always easy to get things jumped off.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulties and the uncertainty and just the fear of, okay, how's it going to work? So I think I commend you guys for just taking the first steps. And also, I'm thankful that you guys are allowing me to be a part of your first podcast. So, like I said, I feel special.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Really appreciate that.
It gives us a little boost in confidence as well.
For sure. All right, so let's get going.
First thing, my bad. We are an open book, just through our chat. So feel free to ask us any questions, whatever comes in mind. We're willing to talk.
But so this is about you. So let's talk about your early life. You grew up in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yep.
Talk through us with the communities like out there and basketball culture.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit, please.
Huntsville it's about a 10-hour drive from Michigan. Definitely different from Michigan, but also similar at the same time. When I first came down here to East Lansing, when I say Michigan, I mean East Lansing. When I first came to East Lansing, I really felt, the same vibes that I feel at home, kind of not too small, but not too big, kind of going a little bit. It was just kind of like home. When I think about Huntsville, the culture there really isn't a football culture. It's more of a basketball culture, really.
Oh, really?
A lot of people think about Alabama, they automatically think football because they think University of Alabama and University.
Yeah,
very true.
They've got two very great sports. They have two very great football programs. Nick Saban is unbelievable, and then just the way Auburn has kind of been consistent, with what they do.
Yeah, you can even throw UAB in there. They've been kind of on the come up as well.
Right. So, Huntsville is really not a football city. You have a lot of football athletes that come out of Huntsville that are high level. We have guys like Reggie Ragland, Kerryon Johnson, who plays for the Detroit Lions. I went to high school.
Oh, yeah.
I went to high school with him. So,
Oh, really?
I didn't even know that.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but Joshua Langford went to high school with Kerryon Johnson, running back of the Detroit Lions.
Yep. He was actually a good basketball player, too.
Oh, really? I did not know that. That's pretty cool. The more you know.
He's so athletic. And, when you're playing at the high school level, if you're super athletic and you have the ability that he has, it's definitely going to translate onto the court just like it does on the football field. Like I see him be able to jump over a guy like mid-stride in a football game. So
Right.
how athletic he is.
And I like the fact, when I'm against, people sticking to like just one specific sport. I like when people play multiple sports because you just become an all-around great athlete doing that.
Right.
Like the stuff you do in basketball can translate over to the football field and vice versa.
Yeah, give me 1 second, bro. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're good.
I got it,
What happened to our chat?
Yeah, I had to let my roommate in.
Oh, good.
So Huntsville is, more of a basketball city, nice city, emergence. I went to school in Madison, Alabama, and that's really a emerging area with different opportunities, and people are building a lot of houses. It's kind of a really nice area that's constantly growing.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit about Huntsville. It's just a nice place.
Okay. And then, so a lot of people don't know this. I didn't really know this as well until I started doing a little bit more research. But growing up, you grew ill at about like at the age 12 or so.
Yep.
Talk through that experience.
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with bacterial meningitis.
Okay.
In layman terms, just to really make it simple, it's just when bacteria really go, it gets to your vital organs and eventually can set your whole body down and you can die from it. I actually had a cousin who I never met that passed away from it. Him and my father was at JUCO in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was around maybe 21 when he passed away from it, 2021, and he actually passed away January 15th, 1994, and I was born 3 years later, January 15th, 1997. And then I ended up getting bacterial meningitis, the same thing that he passed away from, which is interesting. And the reason why the doctors actually tested me for meningitis was because my great aunt and his mother had experienced it, and so they kind of knew the things to look for. And at first, the doctors weren't going to test me for bacterial meningitis, but because my great aunts and his mother knew that they should test me for it, they suggested it, and they ended up doing it, and it came out that I had meningitis. I actually had to get a spinal tap, so that's when you get a shot, on your back, and they just draw fluid, and then that fluid that they draw, they test, to see if there's meningitis there. And so at that time, my father wasn't there. He had deployed over to Iraq as a civilian. He's a government worker, so he wasn't actually
Okay.
in the military. But because he works for the government, you can have different opportunities to go overseas and just kind of make extra money. So that's what my dad was doing. So at that time, it was kind of difficult for my family, just in general, because my dad had left, and I'm blessed to be able to have both of my parents in my life and to grow with both of my parents. So when my dad left, it really was a struggle for me, my
Mm-hmm.
mom, and my sister. Then you put it on top of the fact that I get bacterial meningitis, and now I'm in a hospital for a week and I'm fighting for my life. I remember asking my mother, "Was I going to die?" And it was just so tough for me at that time because my skin was getting discolored. I wasn't able to eat. I was losing weight. It was just kind of like I was just sinking down into the bed. I was having these bad migraines. I couldn't be around light. I couldn't be around a lot of noise. It was just very difficult for me. 12 years old, I was really facing a life or death experience, something that I never expected that I would face at such an early age. The doctors told me that even if I was to survive it or, to get over it, that it was a possibility that I could become deaf, lose my hearing, or I could become blind and lose my vision. And then the killer was that they told me that I may not be able to play high level basketball, which at that time I had I kind of was coming into myself in terms of my game and the level of my play. And so kind of when they told me that really shut me down mentally and emotionally. But I was able to overcome that within that next year. I made my middle school basketball team, and we went undefeated. And then after that, I transferred from my middle school. From my high school that I was supposed to go to in my area, I transferred to a high school outside of that area, and I ended up having a lot of success there. And so, it's all about the grace of God that I was able to do the things that I've accomplished, in the game of basketball. Because, like I just said, it was a time when I didn't know when I was going to live or die, and then there was a question whether I was still going to be able to play sports. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I applaud you for that big time. I mean, just as a 12-year-old, just having to grasp all that,
Yeah.
and the whole basketball thing being in jeopardy, and just not even basketball, but like in bigger thing, like like life in general,
Yeah. I
being
mean,
in jeopardy. I mean,
yeah, it's a big
at a young
perspective
age,
thing. Changes your
yeah.
perspective.
yeah, I mean, just a lot to just comprehend and just to think about it.
Yeah.
And I can relate to you in a way. As a 3-year-old, I was diagnosed and went through leukemia, childhood cancer myself.
Wow.
And, I overcame that, took chemotherapy and It's funny because I did play sports in high school. I played football, and I remember like telling my coaches one year specifically that I suffered leukemia as a kid, and like and seeing their reaction, that made my day because that's something I overcame. And I mean, I can relate with you, having to overcome all that, and then making the middle school team for yourself.
Yeah, that's because that's kind of what that's kind of the same reactions that I would get when I would tell people. Like I've had, let's see, I think a total of 5 surgeries. And so
Hmm. Oh wow.
every time before you have a surgery, they ask you, have you had any underlying problems, or have you experienced any medical difficulties? And so every
Hmm.
time I tell them I had meningitis, and they're like the doctors are like, wow, so you fine, like nothing wrong with you,
Yeah.
it's just the grace of God, man.
For sure. And to this day, whenever I go for like just a physical or whatever, like they'll bring on my records. I'm like, they'll see that I had, cancer or whatnot, and then they'll ask me like, have you had any checkups? Have you been checking yourself? And see, I get that same reaction too. So that's awesome hearing it from someone else. I applaud you for that big time though. That's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really, really huge. I mean, most kids like me at the age of 12, I was just outside with my friends, just playing basketball,
Yeah.
just throwing the ball around. And I mean, you were going through a like life changing experience right there, and just overcame a lot of adversity.
yeah,
So I applaud you for that.
yeah. Thanks, man.
I mean,
I think I think when you have a good perspective on adversity, it helps you mature more.
Hmm.
yeah,
A lot of times, see, you can't like escape the fact that life is going to happen to you. And it's one
Yeah.
thing that we all have in common as humanity is that we all are going to experience life in many different facets. So, my adverse moments may be different from Nye's adverse moments, or Nye's adverse moments may be different from Carlos' adverse moments. But at the end of the day, we all have one thing in common is that we go through these hardships and we go through these trials and tribulations.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if you have the right perspective, you'll always come out more mature. Even at 12 years
Hmm.
old, um, because of the way my dad had raised me, obviously I didn't know everything, but one thing that always stuck with me when I was going through that experience was what my dad would tell me. And I got to talk to my dad maybe once or twice. And so he wasn't even really in the loop when all this was going on. All he knew that his son had the same sickness that his cousin died from. So he was
Hmm.
to, communicate um, and really get a good understanding of what was going on. So the one time we talked, he just told me to make sure that I stay positive, that I keep a good outlook. And doing that really allowed me to see that, hey, no matter what goes on, I don't necessarily have to allow the situation to dictate how I respond or how I react.
Yeah.
Because the adverse moments don't control me, I control them. And the reason I
Exactly.
control them is because I can choose whether I want to look at this from an optimistic point of view or a
Hmm.
pessimistic point of view. Like
Hmm.
my dad will always tell me, he's like, son, you have to look at life as the glass as being half full and not half empty. So it's all about how you see, because how you see
Yeah.
determines how you respond, and how you respond determines how much you mature and grow. And so the ones that really are successful in life or are really effective in life, they are the people who really have the right perspective. When I talk about success, I'm not talking about the accumulation of possessions. I'm just saying the people who are really chasing after growth and are really progressing in their life and really are becoming better people. They're the people who have the right perspective.
yeah,
No, yeah, I like that. I like how you said it. Like just me right now, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Just became diagnosed like 4 years ago,
Yeah,
and I could have been like negative about it, and instead, I chose to do something about it. I'm at the gym like every day. I try to eat healthy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't eat
hey,
healthy all the
I
time,
feel you. I feel you.
but
I'm the same.
like, but I see. I could relate to what you're saying because I don't sit there and pout and like, oh, this sucks. I do something about it, and I look at it at in a way, like in a good way, like for example, like me being diabetic has now allowed me to eat healthier, just look at life a little different. Like I consider myself more healthier now than I was before I was even diabetic because of that.
But you see how your situation of being a diabetic, you see how it's maturing you, it's causing you to be more aware of the fact that okay, I have to eat healthy, I have to go to the gym.
Yes, yep,
Even though it's an uncomfortable thing, the
yeah,
thing that's uncomfortable, if you use it the right way, it can make you better.
exactly.
You know,
You see, and so that's just kind of your your situation is like it's difficult and it's uncomfortable. It's like man, why me? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have these. I don't know about you guys, but I have these moments in my life where I go through something and I'm like, man, why me? You know,
Yeah, I know what you feel.
and
I
I'm like,
had that question many times.
yeah,
like what am I doing wrong? But then a switch hits in my mind and I say, well, you know what? Why not me? Why won't I just take this situation that I feel like it's unfair? Let me
Mm-hmm.
move past the fact that it may be fair or it may be unfair, but let me just see that I have the opportunity to become better. What can I do to become better? What can I
Yeah.
yeah.
what can I do to make myself grow?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like how you worded that, and I was perfectly said, 100% spot on.
Yeah,
Just why not me? That's a really good way to go about it,
Yeah, very positive thinking. Changing your negative thoughts into positive thoughts
right.
can be really helpful.
and it's also like a motivating thing as well.
Yeah.
Like
For sure. And here's the thing too. Let me say this, and then I don't know if you guys have another question, but let me say this. Just because you have the right perspective, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't feel. You-
exactly. No, I get
It
what.
doesn't
Yep.
mean that you don't have emotions. So like you don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
lying to yourself and saying, "Hey, man, okay, I'm fine. Like this isn't bothering me." No, you want to be honest, but you also want to have the right perspective. Perspective doesn't mean you're not going to be honest.
Yeah.
Perspective means that you're going to move forward despite how you feel, but it doesn't mean you're not going to acknowledge how you feel because that's unhealthy too. When you just try to act like you're a robot and you don't feel that you're not a human, like it's okay to be like, bro, this sucks, bro. Like I don't like for me when I went through my injury, my process, my injury, when I got injured back to back, that when I first went through it, I tried to act like I was all hard, like it didn't bother me. But as I progressed on, and I met one of my guys who's a mentor for me now, he helped me realize that hey, it's okay that you are honest about this situation and say, man, I don't want this to happen. I didn't want this to happen. This didn't feel good because all
Mm-hmm.
those different honest things that you're open about, they help you become more free and they also help you to have the right perspective. So having the right perspective, having the right attitude, it doesn't mean that you don't feel. It just that
Yeah.
you choose to not allow what you feel to dictate what you do and how you live and what you see.
Yeah.
If that
I mean, there's times where I'm like, pizza sounds really good right about
yeah,
now, and I'm like, well, I can't have it. It sucks, but no, I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Nat has all the questions, by the way. Um,
Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, yeah. I guess moving on. You overcame what you went through, and you're now at like the high school level. You've had some great accomplishments from like a five-time Alabama Player of the Year. You're a McDonald's All-American, two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in Alabama. Just go through like the recruiting process and what's that's like. Who's like recruiting you hard, and I guess why ultimately did you choose state?
Well, I chose Michigan State because I felt like it was just home. Like I
hmm
really I didn't take any other official visits.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
I took unofficial visits, but I didn't take any official visits. You get 5 official visits. Well, I don't know. The rule probably changed now. That was back in 2016, 2021
Yeah,
now, so I don't know. It probably changed. But when you were a senior in high school, at that time, you could get 5 officials. And I only took one, and that was from Michigan State. And then as soon as I came back to my official, like the next day or so, I called Coach Ears and I was like, I want to be a Michigan State Spartan. And the reason being is because it just felt comfortable for me. It felt like this was the place that I was supposed to be. And coming here things didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. I just thought it was going to happen, but it happened the way I needed things to happen. And I think sometimes I used to feel like I made the wrong decision because things weren't going the way I thought they were supposed to go.
Yeah.
Just because things aren't going the way you thought they were supposed to go after you made a decision, that doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision. That actually sometimes proves that you made the right decision, because after you make the right decision, usually challenges come, because ultimately it's about getting you better. And so that was just kind of the process for me in making my decision, and then after I made my decision.
Now, kind of like what you said, when you were first at East Lansing and you were having like your doubts and whatnot, did you ever think about did it ever cross your mind like, well, maybe this ain't the spot, maybe I should explore somewhere else?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can ask any college athlete, not just in basketball, but in football or any sport really, did they feel like they made the wrong decision after their freshman year, or their first year of college? And if they probably say they didn't, then they're probably telling a lie.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just the normal. Because think about this. What year are you guys?
I'm a freshman at Michigan State right now.
Well, I didn't go to school, but I would have been graduated by now.
Okay, so now as a freshman, just you can use Nye for example. How far are you away from home?
I'm actually at home right now. I decided to stay at home just because, I just didn't think that it was the right choice to go on campus, at least this year.
Yeah.
Just because of how situations were with COVID and
Right,
stuff. And so
I think that's very wise. But, okay, so we can't use Nye. But if you just use the average freshman who isn't going through a COVID year, who comes on campus, who's away from home, it's going to be a struggle because you just out of your comfort zone. So if you put the fact that I'm out of my comfort zone, okay, for me personally, I'm 10 hours away from home.
Right.
I don't know anybody here in Lansing. The coaching is different from what I'm used to. The weather is different from what I'm used to.
I was gonna ask you too. Like, have you ever visited Michigan or any state like Michigan in the past?
No, I'm not.
I've
never been to Michigan.
Okay, so another question then. This is just coming off the dome. The questions. Have you ever seen snow before coming to East Lansing?
Yeah, I've seen snow. It snows in Huntsville, but it.
Oh, does it? Okay, I didn't know that.
It only snows maybe an inch.
Oh, okay. So no severe blizzards or no snow days, nothing serious.
Tornadoes in Huntsville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it snowed there because I stayed in Alabama for a little bit of time, in Springville, Alabama. I don't know if you know where that's at. It's by Argo and probably 30 minutes away from Birmingham.
I never heard of Springville.
But I stayed there for some time and there was not any snow at all. It was really nice weather, hot, too hot at some point. But yeah, I just did a little stint in Alabama at some point.
Yeah.
So.
No, I like what you said. Just not feeling comfortable. Your first year there. And kind of getting a little off topic here, but that's kind of what's been going on, especially in football. I've seen it, the whole transfer portal type thing. And I'm 100%, I back the players 100% because, as an 18, 17-year-old, you're being asked or tasked with making possibly the biggest, life choice, so far at least, in their life, and having to move away from your support system into completely into the unknown pretty much. So whenever I see a player put their name into the portal, I'm 100%, I'm behind it. It's they probably just, they're homesick. They probably just want to go home or something like that, so.
Even a lot of basketball.
Yeah, it's, and, with the whole portal opening up in this past few years,
extra year of eligibility.
It doesn't bother me. I know there's people out there who hate the transfer portal, whether you just, fans who don't think from the player's perspective. You just want to see their team win. But I 100% like back the players on this. And I just, kind of like my take on the whole transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to make the best decision for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a relationship. When you get in a relationship, there are certain times or certain instances where you and that other person that you're in a relationship will come to the conclusion and say, okay, this just isn't going to work out. Like, this is not the right fit for either one of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes how it is with college. You get to a college and the college just may not be the right fit. But on the flip side of it, it could be a situation like I had when I was just going through a challenge. And so you have to be careful not to mistake a challenge as a sign to leave, because if you get into a habit of always leaving when the challenge comes, you'll never be able to move forward in life.
Right. Okay.
You're always running from the challenge. Challenges are important and they are vital to our growth.
Yeah.
When you come to a college and the coach is challenging you, he's trying to push you, and he's saying things to you that you may have not heard a coach say to you before, or he's trying to get you to go to levels that you never thought you could go before.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily a sign that you should leave. That could just mean that the coach is trying to get the things out of you that you don't even know that you have inside of you. You
Yeah.
have to be careful, when you say, I'm going to leave because things aren't going my way. Because just imagine if everybody did that in the world. Just imagine if like people just quit as soon as they felt like something went contrary to what they thought was going
Mm-hmm.
to happen. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, I get what you're
you
saying.
just have to. You got to think about this too. You were 17, 18, 19, 20. How many decisions have you made in your life without including somebody else?
Oh, I can think of like 10 right now, just off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
and so when you made those decisions and you just and not okay, we want to even include a person that's young, just anybody in general. When you make decisions like transferring, or when you make an important life decision that's going to really
Mm-hmm.
affect you for the rest of your life, you don't want to make decisions out of your inexperience. You want to make sure that you get as much as insight and counsel and advice from people, so that you can make a informed decision. And then, so a lot of times you have a lot of kids that's making decisions to leave a school, and they're not getting anybody's advice, and they don't even have any experience in making real life decisions yet. So
Oh
it
yeah.
would be almost like you leaving you leaving a 1-year-old at the house to cook dinner for themselves. How? How can they?
Yeah. Yeah. That won't end well.
Yeah,
That
it
won't
won't
end
end
pretty
well.
well.
So you have all these different things that you could talk about that come into play with the transfer portal. Like I'm not against it, and I'm not going to say I'm for it. I'm just for what's best for the player.
Yeah.
You have
Okay.
to look at it from a bird's eye view and just look at all the different things that could come into place with the transfer portal and with the making the decision to stay at a school or leave the school.
Yeah. And that's important, to get it from at least from like a player's perspective, because just as a normal college fan, and so sorry to say this, I am a Michigan fan, so like I do watch, and
You don't have to be sorry, bro.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm a Michigan State fan for right now. I'll give you that. But so like I follow, of course, their programs very closely, and for the football program at least, they've been having a lot of players, into the portal. And as a fan, like I try to get both point of views, like the players' point of view, but as a fan's point of view, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But then again, like what you said, for the player, not just but as a person, to do what's best for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that just goes for like everyday life, just your 9 to 5 job right there.
yeah, for sure.
Just important to like makes don't mistake a challenge and wanting to leave.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean,
But
yeah.
yeah, sorry about the Michigan stuff. Just like
Sorry, bro. What you like, bro?
we'll get into that a little later for sure.
But yeah. So yeah, moving on. We talked about your high school experience already. You've gone through Michigan State and college life. For the many young athletes that's looking at the next step and the college route, I know every college is different as far as like what they do, but just talk through a little bit about like what's the training like, the classes, just like everyday life as an athlete at Michigan State University.
Yeah, I mean, everyday life is full of responsibility, and then I would say that you're going to get as much out of your experience
Hmm.
as much as you put into it. So
Okay.
whatever you're willing to invest, that's how much you'll get back. So if you're not willing to invest in your college experience, then you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to, you may get a few things just by way of being at the right place, but you're not going to get the full effect if you don't put um, any investment into your college experience. That's not just being an athlete, but that's also being a student. Because at one point
Hmm.
in your life, sports are going to stop. So
Right, exactly.
you have to be. Let's see, how would I want to word this? You have to be bilingual in a way
Yep.
where you can be an athlete but also be a student because you don't
Okay.
want to put yourself in a box. You don't want to just say, okay, I want to go to the NBA, and because I want to go to the NBA, I'm not going to listen to class. I'm not going to pay attention to my teacher's speaking. I'm
Hmm.
not going to
Yeah.
I'm not going to put in any time when I'm with my tutors. I'm not going to try to uh, you know put in extra time when it comes to something that I don't really understand in one of my classes. So like, here's the thing that I always would think about for me, and I didn't always do as well my first 4 years of college. Now my master's, when I in grad, like I'm in grad school right now. As I'm in grad school, I'm learning this, but I didn't necessarily do this my first 4 years of college. And what that is I created bad habits in school, and I expected those bad habits not to translate in basketball. So, for example, you think about an athlete who wants to be a professional athlete, collegiate athlete who wants to be a professional athlete. He says, okay, I know I want to be an NBA player. I know I want to be an NFL player. I know I want to be in the MLB. I know I want to be a professional soccer player or a professional soccer athlete.
Hmm.
Okay, so because I want to be those things, I'm not going to pay as much attention in my classes because that has nothing to do with what I want to be. But
Right.
what the
Yep.
athlete doesn't realize, and what I didn't realize, is that the habits that you build in school are going to be the habits that you have in sports. So you want
Exactly.
to build good habits in every area of your life. You don't want to be one
Exactly.
dimensional to the point to where you saying, I'm not going to really focus in on this, and I'm just going to focus in on that. Because what you don't realize, and what I didn't realize, is that how I focused in on one thing determined how I was going to focus in on the next thing. So how I carried
Hmm.
myself in class was how I was going to carry myself on the court. How
Oh no, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. So I would tell a collegiate athlete that you have to invest. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be it's not going to be like high school. It's going to be completely different. Um, but it's all going to be worth it if you really put in the work, and not just in sports, but also in class, with other people. Like I would say I've met so many different people that I feel like I'm connected with, and that I can you know reach out to even when I'm done playing because of the connection we built through relationships. And that's one thing in
Hmm.
college that you really want to leverage is, and not from a usury standpoint, but you want to make sure you take advantage of the people that you have around you and use them because relationships are everything. And
Oh yeah, I know. Yep.
yeah,
I
and the
mean,
more,
even shooting this right here, we're at the utility closet of the Boys and Girls
yeah,
Club, and just the people that we have come to know from here, just like what you said, like we take advantage of that. They're great people. They help us out and
Yep.
they push us to greater things, and we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, bro. So I mean, there's so many different things. I would say, realize the importance of time management. Don't waste time. Invest it
Hmm.
wisely. Um, invest in relationships. Don't be one dimensional. Take advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah.
Your last, but then also enjoy college as well, because you don't want to get done with college and look back and be like, man, I'm done with college. Like, I didn't embrace the moment. So every day, you want to
Hmm.
make sure that you still embrace the journey, because it's a lot of athletes who get done playing the sport and they look back on their life and they just kind of just are like, man, I wish I really would have took, I really would have took that uh, more serious and not took that for granted, that opportunity,
Yeah.
just the opportunities that come.
And that's a good life lesson here for Nye, who's still in school, still has 3 years left.
Yeah,
So
you get the heavy revy, man.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I
Better
need
take
that.
something from this.
Definitely need that. I appreciate for sure.
Don't be afraid to explore, learn new things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be out here just going buck wild though. You know what I mean?
Oh, that too. Yeah,
But at the same time,
for sure.
you want to make sure you live. Kind of like what I told
Hmm.
you the other day when I was saying it's good that you're trying this podcast, because what I can say that I didn't necessarily do as much when I was younger, and I'm talking like I'm 50, but I'm only 24. But when I was in high school, and when I was in college, I had a fear of failure, and I was so afraid to fail that I didn't necessarily try.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
always want to have this mindset to just be willing to go for things. Now you want to use discretion. You want to be wise. You don't, like I said, you don't want to be out here just doing any and everything. But you don't want to get in your 50s and your 40s and be like, man, I didn't live. That's what my
Right.
mentor
Yep.
always expressed to me and always constantly harp on with me is that, hey, Josh, you got to live. Because at the end of the day, my parents have their own life. Like my dad has his own life. My mom
Hmm.
has her own life. My sister has her own life. And they can't live for me. I have to live for myself.
Exactly. Okay. I like that.
Ultimately, it's about me not being afraid to go out and try and step out and do new things. Like don't be afraid to go skydiving. If you want to jump off the plane, jump off the plane. Bro, for me, I want to go. I can't think of the word. I can't think of what it's called. But you know how they fly in those suits when they jump off the cliff. I think it's paragliding.
Oh,
Bungee jumping?
it's like free falling.
Or
It,
is it?
it's
I'm
like falling or something like that.
yeah.
That's something.
For you're like gliding through the air, right?
You got like a bird suit on.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, I could never do something
Just
like
like a
that.
falcon.
I don't even think I could even skydive.
Skydive, because you have to have so many skydiving miles before you can do that. But I want
Okay.
I want to try that, bro. And sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, man, I ain't gonna do that. But then sometimes, ultimately what I'm saying is, man, you just gotta go for things and enjoy life and experience life and go out and adventure
Hmm.
and just do new things.
I like it. While you're still young, still have no kids too.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
when some kids come, oh man, not there yet though.
No. Far from. But yeah, thank you. Some reflection here. So just like last thoughts. What has the game taught you? And you're a graduate student. You're about to get like your final degree, or maybe you're gonna end up going back to get some more degrees. So I guess like what's next? I think you like put it out there that you're completely done with like basketball as far as like a pro route.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, and like what the game has taught you?
Yeah, I mean, the game has taught me so much, man. I probably would have to write it in a book. If I was to talk about all the different things that basketball has taught me. But,
I'd read it.
huh?
I said I'd read that.
I appreciate it. But I think the biggest thing that the game has taught me is the importance of perseverance. Like because if I look back over my career, starting at 12 years old, I had to persevere through that. When I get to high school, I have two surgeries, one
Mm-hmm.
on my hand, one on my wrist, and that's around my sophomore, junior year. And then I have another surgery on my knee, which is around my junior, senior year. And so I have a total of three surgeries in high school, but I'm still able to overcome.
Oh
And
yeah.
then when I get to college, I have the two back-to-back injuries with my foot, but I'm still able to come back another year and complete a season. Not as successful as I wanted to be, but I completed the season. And so essentially, I think what the game has taught me is how to not ever give up. Because when you don't give up, it's always something on the other end that you aren't expecting. Like I never really, if I'm being honest, I never really made being a McDonald's All American. It wasn't necessarily a goal of mine. Like I had a goal of being maybe be like a top 5 player in the country. I graduated maybe like top 20, but I never cracked the top 5. Like one of my goals would be a top 5 player, but I never had goals of being in the McDonald's All American game. I never had goals of being in the Nike Hoop Summit game. Um, I never had goals of scoring 3,000 points in high school. I never had goals of being like eighth all time in Alabama for basketball and scoring. Like I never had goals of winning Gatorade Player of the Year. I never had goals of winning Miss Alabama. Like I never had those goals. I never had goals of being able to play uh, high school basketball as an eighth grader. Like
Oh
those are
wow.
things that I never thought I would be able to do. But because I persevered and I didn't give up, I seen those things come to fruition. But had I gave
Yeah.
up and had I not continued to try, then I never would have seen those things. And then you go to college. My college experience wasn't what I expected, but it was still so rich. It was still so beneficial. Like I
Mm-hmm.
never I never expected to be 52nd all time in scoring. I never expected to be 1,000 point scorer. I never expected to get 3 Big 10 championships. I never expected to experience the Final Four. Like I never expected these things, but because I continued to persevere, I seen these things come to fruition. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think one thing that if I could really highlight one thing that basketball has taught me, it's the importance of perseverance and not giving up. Because when you don't give up, on the other side of that is something that you never expected to happen. It will exceed your imagination. It will do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ever ask for or imagine. Like you wouldn't be able to imagine the things that you will be able to accomplish if you just keep going. And then just for me, in terms of what's next for me, I have a lot of different opportunities right now. And so for me,
Hmm.
I'm just trying to line them up across the table and just see what's best for me, what aligns with my vision, and where I kind of see myself within the next 5 to 10 years. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Just a couple questions that I thought of. One, if you can let our viewers know, potential viewers, what was your major in school?
I majored in advertising management and I had a minor in religious studies.
Oh, okay. Ooh, advertisement management could probably help us out a little bit.
What you say?
So probably help us out a little bit.
Yeah,
Spread the word.
yeah. There was around a time, like I said, there was around a time where I wasn't taking school as serious. I was good, but I
Right.
wasn't really paying attention all the way like that. So I'm probably in the same boat with y'all when it comes to advertising and marketing and stuff like that. That's not my strong suit.
And you said, I'm sorry, what was your second one?
Uh,
Your minor?
Religious studies.
Religious studies.
I
Okay.
did my master's in education with a focus on sports coaching and leadership.
Okay. Yeah. The whole religious part. So I think this is how I met Nye. Was it? This is how we
It
met?
was, yeah, through Young
Through
Life.
Young Life, which is a religious, youth group here in our area. It's actually like nationwide, worldwide actually, very big in our area. And I got into it to it with back in high school through the club actually, and that's how I met Nye. I eventually became one of his leaders. But I know that's really cool though. I mean,
Yeah, I think
something.
I think it's good, to just be able to get an understanding of other people and how they see life,
Hmm.
because we're entitled to our own perspectives, but that doesn't mean that our perspectives are correct.
Yeah, I agree. I
Just
agree.
like your opinion, you're entitled to your opinion. You know,
Yes.
you're you. Like I can't tell you what to believe in and what not to believe in. I can't change you.
Exactly. Yep. I
I
like
can
that.
influence you, but I can't change you. So I
Hmm.
think it's important that you know, not even from a religious aspect, but just from a person aspect. Like you want to be able to have a conversation with somebody that's Muslim, or you want to be able to have a conversation
Hmm.
with somebody that's Buddhist, just
Yeah.
because it's good to be able to meet them where they are at. Because
Yeah.
all people want to do is be able to talk to somebody. Like they want to be able
Hmm.
to relate. Like one of the most uncomfortable things for people is when they talk to somebody and they just can't relate to them. But
Yeah.
when you learn how to just be relatable, that opens people up to want to talk to you. That opens people up to want to just hang out with you. That opens people up to want to spend time with you. So the whole thinking behind religious studies, why I'm monitoring that, or why I think it's going to be beneficial for me, is that it just helps me have a better understanding and be more relatable with people, because the more you can relate to people, the more they're willing to listen to what you have to say. And being relatable doesn't mean you have to compromise your values. Like I
Hmm.
don't I don't have to I don't have to do something that I don't believe in to be relatable to Nod or to be relatable to Carlos.
Yeah.
But I can come down and I can listen to what you guys have to say. I can be open to what you guys have to say, but I don't have to compromise myself.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I think that's kind of what I feel like the religious studies minor is going to teach me, and uh, kind of why I went about it, why I went and got it.
No, yeah, I like that, especially like in the world we live in today. Like the stuff you see on the news. That's just. I like what you said, pretty much. Just getting an understanding and being able to, talk and be relatable. I like that. That's the way you put it,
Yeah, yeah. Understanding is important, but
for sure.
understanding is important because the reason why people have disagreements majority of the time is because they don't understand each other, and
Hmm.
that's why
Yep.
communication is important, because
Yep.
the more you open and the more that you um, converse with people in a healthy way, the more the
Yeah.
person is able to understand you, and
Yeah.
the more you will be able to understand the person. And majority of the time, you have disagreements, fights, or you know, fallouts with people because he didn't understand you, or she
Hmm.
didn't understand you, or you didn't understand him, or you didn't understand
Hmm.
you. So yeah, I think understanding is important, even in not just in people, but in life in general. You want to get
Oh yeah.
you want to get an understanding in school. You want to get an understanding with sports. You just want to get an understanding. Like you don't want to be a person that does podcasts, but you don't understand how to work a podcast, or you don't
Exactly. Yeah.
understand the ins and outs of what the responsibility is to have a podcast. So you just want to have that having that that mindset of every area of your life. It really helps you be able to flow in a wise way.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. That's very well put.
Yeah. Thank you.
Another question. This is going to be kind of more towards on court type of stuff. This is the Limitless Ballers Media podcast. What can you say was your favorite moment on the court or just in basketball when you were at MSU?
I think I had so many different moments. And if I was to just say one thing, I feel like I would be minimizing all the great moments that I had. But
Yeah.
I would say the greatest experience or the most memorable one would be going to the Final Four and just,
Okay.
even though I didn't play, being on the
Yep.
court and just, and really not even the game, but just being on the court while we were practicing there and just
Okay.
getting the whole vibe and feeling the energy of the arena and just seeing how big it was and seeing
Oh yeah.
it's like so big. They play the games in like actual football arenas, football domes.
Right. Yeah.
And
And that's where they've been playing the most.
you can
The,
only
the recent
yeah,
ones.
you can only imagine how many people are there while you're playing. So
Yeah.
the time that we went out to practice, and then also, I mean, the time that we also went out to play, and I seen all the people in the stands, like just the whole
It's like you're in shock.
yeah, energy that it has, so it was just unbelievable. But I did
Just the
have
atmosphere.
great memories, throughout my college career. But I would say that was one that sticks out to me as I talk to you guys right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't even just. I get butterflies just thinking about it.
No,
Just walking in.
it's amazing.
And it's like I'm here, it's like this is the pinnacle of college basketball, the Final Four.
Biggest spotlight.
This is where everybody wants to be,
Yeah.
and I'm here. That's awesome. I mean that's on my bucket list actually is to go to a Final Four,
Bro,
championship game,
I encourage you to go there.
But yeah.
especially Michigan.
You know. But yeah, that was a fan question, by the way, from Zach Boggs.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
here
perfect.
From Zach
There you go,
Boggs.
Zach.
We're answering some fan questions. Got like 2 more. And then Liam was wondering, he said, was it hard moving on from basketball, even though you knew God has a greater purpose?
Yeah. I mean, it's a part of it. A part of me was torn. I think I was torn because of how long I played basketball. Like, you gotta think about it. I started playing when I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
24 now. So
Almost 20 years.
yeah. So I mean, that's a long time of you getting used to doing the same thing over and over, year after year after year, and then
Literally ball his life at that
one
point.
day you wake up and you're not doing it anymore. Like that's weird, bro. It's like just picture you being connected to something and then you disconnect yourself. Like
Yeah.
if I was to cut my hand off, it would create trauma there. Like it would be blood
Mhm.
everywhere. So like the reason why is because my hand is connected to my arm. So when I disconnect my hand from my arm, it's going to be an issue. So it's just like basketball. I was so connected to basketball. So now that I'm disconnecting from basketball, it's going to be some issues there. But on the flip side of it, I was at peace with my decision. And the reason why I was at peace with my decision is because I gave all I had. I wasn't perfect, but I gave 110%. I can really say that I gave 110%. Now it was days where I may not have gave my necessarily gave my best. I wasn't perfect. I was
Mm-hmm.
still human, but I went out and I did all I could do. I didn't quit after I had my second surgery. I fought
Yeah.
through. I fought through, and I've had a lot of high level accomplishments in the game too. So just making that decision, I mean, it was weird. It was difficult. It was uncomfortable. Like I had to talk to my family about it. I had to talk to my friend about it. I had to talk to my pastors about it. Just because it was different for me. I
Yeah.
think that's important too. Like when you make decisions, you don't want to not include people in your decision. Kind of like what we were talking about with the transfer code. But it was uncomfortable, but at the same time, I have peace about it because I just feel like
Okay.
I got all I got.
Right. And I just lost the question. I was actually going to show you a funny picture I have on my phone. Okay, actually, how was it working with? Let me reword that. How was it being coached by Coach Izzo. How was he? Like give us like kind of like a behind the camera type. Like how was he during practice, or not even in practice, just like outside basketball.
Yeah, I mean, he was coach. I mean, you guys. The funny part about it is that people ask me that question, and like sometimes you ask people that question about somebody because majority of the time we're used to people acting different in private.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say that Coach Izzo is one of the most consistent people that I've ever met in my life. So how
Okay.
you see him on the court while you're watching from home, or if you're at the game in the stands, it's how he is in practice, it's how he is off the court, it's how he is in meetings, how he is with his family. He's the same guy every single day. And one thing I've learned from him is the importance of being consistent, not consistency. But if you're a leader, or just a person in general that wants to be successful in life, you have to be consistent. Because if you're not consistent, you will never see growth. You'll never see progress in your life. Coach Izzo is a Hall of Fame coach because he's been consistent.
Yeah, and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. The reason why I bring that up too is, so this was like, let me check. Well, like or in 2021, it's like 6 years ago, our local high school, West Ottawa High School, over on the west side of Michigan, they were hosting like regionals, I believe, and it was like Muskegon and Forest Hill Central, and it was Deontay Davis. I don't know if you remember him. Played a year at State, and then it was Xavier Tillman. He was like a sophomore at the time, and it was it's the playoffs. It's just the hype around the game was through the roof, and Coach Izzo was there, and I remember sitting across the court, just literally tucked in like this. That's how much room there was in the gym. And I remember during halftime, I immediately run across the court to go meet him. And it's funny, I just took like this. I don't know if you can see that picture. I don't know if you got the flash.
Glare on it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see.
I can kind of.
Trying to.
I can kind of. Hey,
But yeah, anyways, it was funny because I just ran across the court and I took a picture with him. And the next morning, I go through, I check on MLive, and right on the front page of the sports section is my picture with Tom Izzo, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever back in high school.
wow, I thought you was a Michigan fan.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He switched
All right,
up.
look here.
He switched up.
Look,
Come on.
I am a Michigan fan. I respect Izzo for what he's done.
How you doing, Carlos? I see how you.
You're not the only one who thinks like, our barber is always calling me a fake Michigan fan as well.
I'm messing with you. I'm serious. When I was in high school, not in high school, when I was in middle school and elementary, I was a big Duke fan, but I also was a North Carolina fan too.
Oh,
How's that possible?
It's like me rooting for Ohio State football and Michigan basketball right there.
I mean, you like what you like, man. Like,
Yeah.
you can like Michigan and Michigan State. I mean,
No.
you may not want to tell anybody that. You may not want to go public with that.
No, I do not. My allegiance is with the maize and blue. Now that we're on this topic, how was that rivalry? Like, how was like the build up and the lead up to those games?
It was crazy, man. Like, as a competitor, you want to be even keel, no matter who you play. You don't want to. Well, this is my mindset: is that I didn't want to treat Michigan different than a Western Michigan.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're still the opposing team.
Yep.
They still put a jersey on, just like I.
Yep.
And they
Yep.
can win, but they also can lose. And
Exactly.
you want to get in a mindset to where, okay, no matter who on the other end, I'm going to give 110%. I'm going to go out here and kill no matter what. I don't care if it's a sixth grade team. Like, they going to get work. They going to get this work. They going to get this work.
Not the sixth graders.
Hey, on the other team, they getting this.
Yeah.
They getting this work, but
No, I mean, no, you're right about that. I mean, when you said you're in high school ball as an eighth grader, I mean, they didn't care that you're in eighth grade. You're just another guy with the jersey on, and
Exactly.
Facts, bro, facts. But also,
So-
when you think about the Michigan and Michigan State rivalry, and just my experience of like the Michigan week, it is a new type of emotion that you have. Like the rivalry is one of the greatest rivalries to be a part of. And I never really knew much about the rivalry coming into college because I came from Alabama.
Mhm.
But I did get to experience the Auburn and Alabama rivalry.
Oh, I bet.
The Michigan State rivalry is just as good, if not better, than the Alabama and Auburn rivalry. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how Michigan State fans are and how, just how the atmosphere is when you play at Michigan or when you play, or when they play at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just like Alabama, I mean, it's a house divided pretty much. It's you can be in the same household. You can have an Alabama and Auburn fan or an Alabama fan. Here, it's like me right now. Michigan State, Michigan. Although I will say this: before he chose Michigan State, Nye Jones was actually a huge Michigan fan.
Yeah.
He converted.
I was a huge Michigan fan, but my final thoughts came to be if I was going to go to Michigan State, I'm going to be in the end zone and cheer on.
There's nothing wrong with that. I respect his decision, his choice.
It's crazy, bro.
It's like I want to have
What's
the time
funny?
of my
What's
life.
funny too, though, is so Ben Metcalf, who, as at this moment, can't be a part of our show. He's the one that actually started this whole thing with Nye before I even joined. He actually grew up being a huge State fan himself, and now he's over at Michigan, and he converted to the other side. So like they just flip flopped, and
Yeah.
Wow, so all y'all.
So it's all crazy because he ended up going to Michigan and I ended up going to Michigan State, and so
well, no, that's cool. This is my first time talking from a player, to a player who's experienced that himself. So to hear from you, I mean, that's awesome. Just as a fan, you see it, but as a player, you live it.
Yeah, it's right. You right in it. You right in it.
But yeah, I'm getting to the last thing. We're just gonna do some quick burning questions, 5 burning questions to end the show. And so let's get started. If someone checked your music playlist, what artist would you have the most songs on that playlist?
Artists I can't think off the top of my head, but I got a little bit of R&B.
Oh, okay.
Hip hop. I got old
Okay.
R&B now. Like I'm old. I like the old
What's like 90s R&B?
90s R&B.
Yeah, there you go. I love 90s R&B. I would just bump into some on the way to work the other day.
Then I got my gospel music.
Okay,
Yo,
I like that.
gotta have that.
A nice little mixture.
And then all right, favorite TV show.
The Flash.
I
Never
gotta
seen
watch
it.
that.
Never seen
My
it.
brother watched it. I gotta
Never
watch
seen
it.
it.
I started like 4 episodes. I've never seen The Flash. I will tell you a show I'm watching right now.
So, go.
I'm watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, it's a superhero show, but like, I think it's really good. I gotta get around to The Flash, but I've never seen
Where
it.
is that? Where can you watch that at? Like what?
The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Disney Plus. It's so good. They came. It's been 6 episodes. They come out with a new episode every Friday, and so I've been tuned in every Friday on Disney Plus to watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I would say it's probably my favorite show.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think I heard.
It's really good.
So
I
does
think
that?
a big background into Marvel. If you watched all the Marvel movies, I guess like more of about the Avengers, you'd get a better background of what's going on.
Okay.
That's kind of my next question. Does that make you a DC fan then? I'm assuming, or are you like neutral?
I'm new.
The whole Marvel versus
I'm
DC.
Marvel and DC because I love.
Okay.
I love Marvel, but I love DC too. Like I love Arrow. I like Flash. I like Bat.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
I'm a big Batman
The
person.
Wonder Woman movie that just came out. Well, not just came out, but it came out most recently, like the second.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it 1980?
1984.
Fire.
I gotta watch it.
I saw it in theaters, and to be honest, I was not a big fan of the movie. I mean,
And you know,
I just felt like I guess I'll have to rewatch it. But like the way it ended,
it did end weird, bro. It did.
It's like that's what it took to beat him. It's like just
Yeah.
talking to him.
Yeah,
Hey, I gotta watch
Like
it.
she didn't even beat him. She lost. Honestly, she got her butt whipped.
Deep meaning to it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. It's a superhero movie. I don't expect it to like
You gotta
end
tone
that
it
way.
down. I gotta watch it still. I've watched the first one, just not the second
Bro,
one.
it's
I like the 80. I like the 84 vibe to it though.
I like.
The early 80s for sure. The whole like at the mall. That's pretty much a shopping mall screams the 1980s.
Yeah. Then I like, I like the Marvel. I like Black Panther. I like
Oh yeah, I love it.
Iron Man.
That's
Iron Man's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I love
superhero.
Iron Man.
He's so funny.
Robert Downey Jr. I think he's just not just an Iron Man, but just an all around great actor.
Yeah, I like both of them.
All right. What brand of shoes do you wear the most? Or just favorite shoe,
Nike and
if you don't have the brand.
what's that?
Nike.
The Nikes, Air Maxes,
Okay.
and my
I
babies.
like the Air Max.
Yep.
Yeah, Nike.
And then, I'm sorry,
I
what?
was just saying Nike and Jordan.
Nike and Jordan. Okay. What's your favorite Jordan retro?
I don't have one. I like the ones. I like
Okay.
these, and I like the 11.
Okay. Ooh, the 11s are mine for sure.
Yeah, I just actually bought the pair of ones, the Hyper Royal that I just released, and then I sold them.
Oh.
I got them off the sneakers app for like 185, and then I sold them for like 360 something. So,
It's a good market if you want to flip money.
Huh?
Sure.
oh yeah, got to. And then what is the hidden talent that you have?
I like to write. I think I'm a pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good writer. Like when I was a junior, it was usually when I was a sophomore or a junior, I picked up writing because I went to an unofficial visit to Florida and I was bored. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get on my phone. Let me just start writing some poetry. Like it just randomly came in my mind. Like let me write poetry. We was driving to Florida, and so then
Real.
I picked it up then on my way to Florida, and then once I got hurt with my knee, and I had to have my knee surgery, I really started writing a lot then. And so ever since then, I kind of really enjoy writing. And I think I'm pretty good at it.
Okay. I like that. I've had some people suggest to me to, like buy like a journal and just journal like just my thoughts and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to get into it, but that's something definitely that I like that, and
Yeah, you gotta
I'm trying to make an effort.
gotta have hobbies.
Yeah.
I'm working on that myself. Like I'm trying to find me some hobbies.
Now that basketball's over, hit the weights.
I live. That's a hobby. Yeah, you can call that. I'm gonna do that regardless. Like,
No, there you go.
Yeah. And then I guess the last one is who's your favorite hooper?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Kobe and Mike.
Mike, okay. Kobe and Mike. I'm a LeBron fan. I'm a huge LeBron fan.
And then who I like right
I'd
now
say
is Brad Bill.
Brad, okay.
Yes. I don't know if you saw this, but when he released that tape of him talking to his AAU team, I thought that was very deep.
Yeah, it was, bro. It was very deep, very
So-
real.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all the burning questions we got today. Thank you for joining the Limitless Ballers podcast. I mean, really appreciate that.
Oh, for
guest.
sure.
I appreciate you guys for having me, man. I enjoyed myself talking to Nye and talking to Carlos, the Michigan State fan.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm gonna get some people for sure to asking me like how to, like our barber, for example. He's a huge Michigan fan. His name is Doc, and he'll get on me about this, no doubt. He's gonna be probably asking like why I let a Michigan State player on. Like,
Because I'm a Michigan State fan. That's why he's on.
I'll be like, I don't know what to tell you.
Nah. But yeah, I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that went. I think it went really well. I mean, I think we had a great talk, great conversation all around.
A lot of wise words and discussion from you.
Appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. I really did.
Actually, I have one more question before we leave. Now that basketball is over for you to play, do you ever think about maybe getting into like coaching? perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, I think I will. I think I'll always be around the game. I don't know if I would coach per se.
Okay.
I think I would be more maybe like on the advisory side, like maybe like advising an athlete,
Yeah.
Okay.
life coaching, being a life coach of an athlete.
No, that's yeah. I think
Yeah, I
that's
could
very
definitely
that's very
see that.
important. That's very important.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would be actually a basketball coach. Because
Okay.
I think I would want to be around all kinds of sports.
Okay. No, I like that. And that's very important. I think every school should have that person on their staff because every school, you're going to get those kids who come, just different backgrounds. You have no idea what's going on. They could use someone like that, and
Sure.
no, that would be awesome for sure. You'll for sure be making a difference in a lot of kids' lives.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're making a difference on a lot of kids' lives just through this podcast right now.
Yeah.
I appreciate
And
you
so,
guys
when
having
we
me on.
release it.
So
But yeah, I mean, thank you for joining the show.
yeah, it went really well. I mean, me personally, I would love to have you again sometime here in the future.
I wouldn't be against it, man. If you guys see fit to let me back on, I'll be more than happy to be on. I'll be honored again to be.
Hey, that'll be great. We for sure maybe get a little nicer setup than there's a great wall back here, but
Start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere.
we gotta start somewhere. Exactly. Right now we're in the utility closet of the Boys and Girls Club. Maybe we'll get an office space in here sometime. Who knows?
Never know.
All right. Just get a little outro before we leave. Thank you for joining podcast.